Welcome back, everybody. My name is Dan Gazaway, your mental performance coach. A few years ago, I was given the opportunity to speak with about 500 eager entrepreneurs. And I wasn't given a topic to discuss. They just said, hey, motivate the crowd like you know how. And so that actually made me a little bit nervous because I was like, okay, what do my successful friends have in common? My most successful entrepreneurs, the athletes that I've worked with for many years, what do they all have in common? I came up with this talk called 3 Steps to Massive Success that I'd like to share with you today. I'm not going to give you the 20-minute talk. I'm going to give you the very short version. But I want you to know the 3 topics that I discussed. One is a clear vision. Everybody that I know that is successful, they know what they want and they know exactly why they want it. The second thing they have in common is they have an unyielding belief. Regardless of how ridiculous their goals might sound to the rest of the world, they know that they're going to accomplish. It might even sound crazy to them at the time, but they have this unyielding belief that they're going to achieve their goals. And the third one is they take the right level of action, which is massive action to attain their goals. And I think that's where a lot of people fail. They don't realize how much work it is required to reach their goals. So they easily give up. So the thing I wanted to talk to, or the topic that I wanted to talk about today very briefly, is the unyielding belief. And I wanted to share a story. But first I wanted to share a quote by Robert Anthony. He says, "You can have anything you want if you are willing to give up the belief that you can't have it." And I think that's just a very powerful quote. You can have anything that you want if you are willing to give up the belief that you can't have it. And the story of belief that I have to share with you today involves my daughter. She's my middle daughter of 3. And back a long time ago, she really struggled learning how to ride her bike without training wheels. And I remember one day she was frustrated. She came in for dinner. As we sat down around the dinner table, she was discussing that she would eventually learn how to ride her bike. And I remember not being frustrated myself, but I was thinking, man, it's been about 5 months since she's been trying to ride her bike. Maybe it's about time I try to help her out. But not that I didn't before, but this was just a little bit different. I looked at her that night at the dinner table and I said, Danny, tonight you are going to learn how to ride your bike. And I'm going to, right after dinner, we're going to go in the backyard in the bike path and you're going to learn to ride tonight. And she looked at me kind of, whatever, I guess I'm going to learn how to ride my bike tonight. So we finished dinner, we went to the bike path, and she started to try to ride her bikes. So she would put her feet on the pedals and take one, she would take, not one stride, but she would pedal once and then she would immediately put her feet on the ground. And then she would try again. She attempted this about a handful of times. She put both feet on, I had the back of her seat, and she'd try and then she'd hurry and put her foot back on the ground. And I said, hey, you know what are you afraid of? And of course she's like, I'm afraid of falling, Dad. I don't want to fall down. And so this is where things started to change. I said, Danny, you need to focus on what you want, and that is to ride your bike. You don't want to focus on what you don't want, which is falling. So I helped her visualize. I sat down, or I knelt down right behind her bike, and I said, I don't want you to worry about falling from side to side, and I don't want you to take your feet off of the pedals, because if you start falling to the side, I've got you. So I'm just going to hold on to the bike. I'm not going to allow you to fall from one side to the other. So she had confidence in that. And while I was kneeling down, I looked down the pathway and I said, do you see yourself? I want you to see yourself riding down the path perfectly. And I took a couple of minutes of explaining about belief and visualization, seeing her riding her bike perfectly without taking her feet off of the pedals. And I said, do you see that? Yes. Is it a clear picture? Yes. Do you see yourself riding all the way down the path perfectly? Yes, I do. So I held onto the back of her bike she pedaled maybe 10 times and I let go. Long story short, she just took off, and she didn't, well, I didn't have her back, right? She just took off. She thought I was behind her, and 10 minutes later, she's riding down the whole neighborhood on her bike, and she was very proud of that moment. But she learned about belief that day, belief in herself, and focusing on what she wanted, not what she did not. That's part of belief and narrowing her focus down. And so she learned about belief that day. Every time my daughter, still to this day, struggle with something, she always just looks at him and says, sometimes jokingly, "You've got to believe in yourself." And that's just stuck with her. So my invitation to you is to work on those three things. Again, have a clear vision of what you want. Write down why you want what you want. Why are those things so important to you? And what are you willing to give up to achieve the goals that you want? So that clear vision is important. I also want you to work on your belief. And a lot of people don't understand, well, how do I work on belief? Well, you need to surround yourself with positive people, people that believe in you, people that motivate and inspire you to want to take your life or your skills to a different level. It's being around those people that are already where you want to be. It's listening to podcasts that motivate and inspire you. And I can share in the links below of what podcasts that I listen to. I notice when that helps me build my belief, listening to motivational people that I've never met, that I feel like they're my personal coaches. So that is my invitation to you, as to work on those three things. And the last part is taking the right level of action, which is massive action. And when you do that, that is a winning formula for you to achieve, I believe, anything that you want to. And then just spend a long enough time, be consistent enough for those goals to happen.